It's happened again. For the third year in a row, Real Madrid will face Manchester City in the Champions League. According to the bookies, Manchester City is the heavy favorite to win the tie, as has been the case the last few meetings between these two teams. But this season, Real Madrid looks a much different side than the one that faced City last year. In this video, I'll break down the 5 ways Real Madrid can demolish Manchester City. Stick around to the end because I think the 5th point is the most important, meaningful point that's being severely overlooked, and it's why I believe this season Real Madrid will progress to the next round. Number 1. The first thing that will help Real Madrid win this tie is the formation. Last season when Real Madrid faced City in the Champions League, the squad played a conventional 4-3-3 formation with a front three of Vinicius, Benzema, and Rodrigo. In the first leg, Real Madrid pressed City high up the pitch without necessarily having the defenders play high up the field. Carlo's idea was to disrupt City's build-up play without leaving the team open to counterattacks. During the match, Real Madrid's build-up play was heavily dependent on the left side, with both Kroos and Modric playing deep, looking to release Vinicius into space. However, this season, Real Madrid's build-up is less one-sided, making them less predictable, with Vinicius interchanging between the left wing and left forward positions. Which brings me to my second point, which is Real Madrid's ability to beat a high press this season. Now, I want to be very careful about this point because the devil is in the details. It's no secret Real Madrid struggles against sides that press aggressively. The strength of Ancelotti's system is that it's not regimented or organized, but the weakness of a lack of structure is when teams press Real Madrid. And when that happens, it's clear the team doesn't have a regimented routine to pass the ball through pressure. Just take the Valencia game, where Real Madrid went down 2-0 in the first 20 minutes of the game. Even veteran right back Dani Carvajal gives up the ball cheaply to assist Valencia's second goal. And we saw last season at the Etihad, Real Madrid in the first half could not string 2 passes together and were pinned back into their own half. But I think there's 2 key differences between last season and this one. First is aging 38-year-old Luka Modric and 35-year-old Karim Benzema will be replaced by a 20-year-old Jude Bellingham and 21-year-old Camavinga, or 22-year-old Tchouaméni, meaning Real Madrid will have an extra midfielder that could be found between the lines, and Vini's new position in the system could be more deadly. We've seen this season against Osasuna, against Barcelona, and Mallorca. Vini's playing more centrally off the shoulder of the last defender. This is a big contrast to last season where he was more isolated and teams would set up to stop him by going 2v1 on their right side. Which brings me to point number 3, which is the late runs through the channel. The very nature of this new system relies heavily on runs through the channels from midfielders, since there isn't a focal number 9. That makes it more difficult for opposition teams to react to those runs in time. Earlier this season, we saw those runs from Jude Bellingham and Valverde, where in possession a late run into the box was made, creating chaos, making it very difficult to track. Pep's teams are very well organized in both defensively and offensively, but tracking a late run from Jude like we saw against Girona is a big change from last season. I think many people are underestimating how unpredictable Real Madrid's offense is this season. Early in the season, the team struggled to score goals, but we knew it would take months to adapt to the new system. Can we see the pinnacle of the diamond against Manchester City? Which brings me to my 4th point, which is the change in personnel. Of course, this season we lost our starting goalkeeper and our 2 center backs, which was devastating, but we've seen Luin take a giant step this season, showing he's a Champions League caliber goalkeeper. As a lifelong Madridista, it pains me to say this, but I'm not sure David Alaba will be missed in this tie. Alaba's ball progression is excellent, but I've always felt his physicality was lacking against City, and he's never really performed that well against them. Alaba is naturally a left back, and I think this game calls for a more physical presence in the box. But of course, that means Nacho cannot start or even get on the team bus away at the Etihad. His performance this season have been poor. Eder Militao did feature all of a minute against Athletic Bilbao at home the other day, but if you can somehow start him in the away leg, that would be a huge boost to the squad. And the other thing I believe Carlo should do in this game is start Rodrigo at the Bernabeu, but start Brahim away at the Etihad. The reason being is I expect us to have more possession in Madrid against Manchester, and Rodrigo is better at linking play and creating space for his teammates in possession, but Brahim Diaz is better at taking on defenders and creating space out of nothing. If Real Madrid is pinned back like they were last season, they will have Jude between the lines and Brahim Diaz playing off of Bellingham, who can dribble multiple defenders. I cannot overstate the difference in physicality between last year's lineup and this year. But of course, the key is for neither Jude, Vini, Camo, or Chu to get a yellow card and get suspended for the second leg. And the last and fifth point I want to make is that Manchester City has 3 more games than Real Madrid ahead of the clash. We have a total of 9 rest days, where City has to play Crystal Palace away 3 days ahead of our clash. That means City will have to travel to Palace and the very next day get on a plane to Madrid and prepare for their clash against us. With both Stones and Walker coming back from injury, it's a big ask for them to come back fit and travel away to Madrid and put on their best performances. Since Manchester City played at the Bernabeu last season, we're a whole different team. Even the stadium has a new roof, making it a much louder, more hostile atmosphere. The entire stadium will be wearing white on that night, and I'm predicting Real Madrid will win by at least a 2-goal margin. We're out for revenge. And with Vinicius putting his stamp not only on this game, but also on the Ballon d'Or race. Do you think Carlo will go with Tchouaméni and Kroos double pivot like we saw the other day against Bilbao? Or do you think he will go with Kroos, Camavinga, and Valverde in the midfield, and Tchouaméni at center back, and looking to Kroos to initiate the build-up play from the 6th role, similar to last season? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Hala Madrid.